Good evening, everyone. My name is Yasser Bashir, Assistant Chief with the Houston Police Department, and with me I have Captain Zia from Homicide Division. I'm going to provide a briefing on an officer involved shooting in the 5,000 block of Westheimer. Here's the preliminary information I have so far. We have one suspect who was struck more than once. He's in a local hospital receiving medical attention. We have one officer who also received injuries, and that officer actually is a sergeant with HPD. He's also at a local hospital receiving injuries. We have no other person who was injured, and there is no additional threat to the community. So this is a quick, brief overview about this officer involved shooting. Now I'm going to provide you more details what led to this incident. Approximately 4:40 p.m., there were several HPD officers working extra job at the location right behind me when they received information that there was a vehicle that was involved in a crime the previous day. So today they located that vehicle, located the vehicle in the 5,000 block of Westheimer. As they were approaching this vehicle, the vehicle left the private drive and began to drive on the opposite side of Westheimer. The sergeant, he approached the driver's side and gave verbal commands, and the sergeant was pinned between the suspect's vehicle, the driver's side, and also a witness who was on the street. The sergeant discharged his weapon multiple times, striking the suspect. The vehicle continued across Westheimer, and it came to a stop. Immediately, officer detained the individual and provided medical attention. And I stated earlier, that suspect is at the hospital receiving medical attention. The suspect is a black male. The charges at this time, that's still under investigation, and that information will be provided as soon as it's available. The officer, he is a sergeant with HPD, over 25 years on. He's also, as I stated, at the hospital receiving medical attention. His body-worn camera will be released per policy within 30 days, and he will be placed on administrative duties. Anytime there's an officer involved shooting, it's a very difficult because somebody was hurt. We will make sure that this type of incident, this shooting, gets thoroughly investigated. We have our homicide division here, internal affairs, as well as the district attorney's office. As you can see, this is a very, very busy intersection. There may have been more witnesses to this incident, so I encourage those individuals who may have a video or may have seen this shooting, please call our homicide division at 713-308-3600. This is the only brief information I have for this incident, so if anyone has any question regarding to this shooting, I'll be more than happy to answer that question at this time.
Just to be clear, so the vehicle came across this median here, and then the officer approached the driver's side door?
No, as soon as the vehicle exited the private property on the other side, that's when the sergeant approached the vehicle.
Okay.
When the vehicle came to a stop, they took him out of the vehicle and provided medical attention.
And so the shooting itself happened here or previously?
It happened on the eastbound lane of Westheimer.
Okay. Around what block would you say? Like further down?
5,000 block, roughly.
Okay. And was the suspect armed? Have we recovered a firearm?
That's going to be part of the investigation.
What was he suspected of doing the previous day? What crime was he suspected of?
At this time, we believe what's commonly known as a jugging. This is a type of predatory theft. I'll just briefly go over what that means. That means we have individuals who follow vulnerable victims from the banks, ATM machines, or high-end stores, and they follow them to commit robbery or some type of BMV crime.
So was the sergeant himself working an extra job?
Yes, they were working extra jobs.
So was the sergeant, because of what we're seeing here, was he working an extra job on the Galleria side, or was he working
A Galleria side.
on the Galleria
Yeah.
side? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So he wasn't in...
He was in uniform. Yes. Yes, he was in HPD uniform.
Explain what working an extra job actually.
So extra job is you still have your police powers. You still have the same level of authority as if you were an officer, but you're just providing the same services to, the community or businesses.
Was the officer walking up to the vehicle, or was he following in his?
He was walking. He walked up to the vehicle.
So the vehicle was on Westheimer,
It was on a private property and then exited onto Westheimer,
right? And
driving against the traffic.
against
Yeah,
traffic.
against traffic.
And that's when the officer walked to the passenger door,
The driver's door.
the driver's
Yes.
door.
And Chief, was the jugging incident yesterday here at the Galleria?
We believe so. We believe it didn't happen here. We believe that the vehicle was linked to that incident. And that's what caught the attention of these officers
What
today.
was that incident in this area?
Yes, it was the area. Actually, you brought a very good point. I do want to just point out if anybody else is involved in any type of theft or felt like they were followed and you were being a victim of a crime, please call us.
And is the suspect, I know it's preliminary,
Right.
but is there any history of this with the suspect that you've been able to identify yet?
That's going to be part of the investigation as well. Yeah.
This is arguably the busiest stretch of roadway in all of Houston, this particular section. All of these businesses are being impacted. I spoke to a couple of waiters in there, management. They're wondering, when will this stretch of roadway be open?
You're right. This is a very, very busy intersection. I'm glad nobody else was hurt. Just like any investigations, we're going to try to, as soon as it's done, we will clear this up. We are aware, we have officers right now directing traffic on right across. So we'll clean it up as soon as we're done with the investigation.
Was the vehicle that the suspect was driving, was it stolen or was it his vehicle?
That it had paper tags, so that's going to be part of the investigation, if it's stolen or not.
And we do think that the vehicle is the one that was used in the jugging incident to follow someone.
We do believe the same vehicle that was linked to the case yesterday.
Do we believe he was here alone today?
He was the only one in the vehicle.
And did his vehicle have any items that were stolen to link him to any other crimes, specifically the one yesterday?
That's going to be part of the investigation as well.
Can you explain how long is the officer walking alongside the vehicle until he gets hit, and how long is he pinned against that other vehicle?
It happened pretty quickly, and I cannot give you the specific times.
People, like the officer wasn't like dragged by the vehicle at all.
I don't feel comfortable answering that question at this time, because that's going to be part of the investigation.
Witnesses have mentioned that somebody was receiving first aid right in front of that blue car. Who would that have been?
That would have been the individual, the suspect.
Are there any other questions?
When he was transferred, was he transferred with life-threatening injuries?
I don't have that information. He did receive serious injuries.
Is the officer going to make a full recovery?
Yes, the officer had non-life-threatening injuries.
I know it's preliminary, but do we know how many times the officer discharged his firearm, or how many times the suspect,
More than once.
more than once
Yes.
the suspect was hit?
More than once, yes.
Do we know whereabouts on the body?
I'm going to say like his torso area.
And sorry, just to get the timeline like completely clear. So he pulls out onto Westheimer going the wrong direction
Yeah.
toward traffic. This officer walks to the driver door on foot and tries to make contact with the suspect. The car continues, and at that time the officer
Yes.
fires.
That's
Chief.
correct.
Chief, in getting back to this being the busiest stretch of roadway, at that time it is busy on Sunday, holiday weekend, around 5 o'clock. What does it say that nobody else is injured?
First, I'm very grateful that nobody else is injured. This is a very busy intersection, but unfortunately, the suspect is the one who dictates a lot of our actions, our responses. But once again, I'm just glad nobody else got hurt.